May 6th. I'm just getting home from work. I'll take a better look at these later, but this is I think, Japanese quince tree. Flowering, beautiful tree. It's huge. There's so many overlapping branches in there. I'm gonna try to take a bunch of air layers and root cuttings and stuff from it. There's the other ones that are, the suckers coming up out of the root systems. One of them is starting to flower, 2 of them maybe. Yeah, I'll probably take a couple more of those out. But over here is the most beautiful thing in the side yard. At the moment, anyways. This pear tree, beautiful. All these flowers, amazing. I can't get over this one. I'm glad the squirrels didn't chew them all off like they did the pear tree in the back. Now, unfortunately, so I was talking about this before. So this large branch here and the smaller ones over there, they're different varieties of pear. So they could have cross-pollinated, but unfortunately, none of them are fruiting or flowering. Anyways, I think there was a fruiting spur there at some point, maybe down here. Maybe they're just still developing, but next year they'll probably flower a little bit. But I've got to do some major pruning on this, especially all the Douglas pear parts. I'm just going to prune way back and push growth into the lower parts of the tree. Got some tulips coming up. And these things have all opened up. These lighter purple ones over there. The plum trees starting to open. We have a bunch of asparagus. There's a long, tall one there. I probably won't be able to harvest much from that one. I'll let it go until next year. But this one, wow, that's huge. That's definitely as thick as my index finger at the bottom there. We can see all this green foliage. This ground cover has just exploded. I'm gonna have to clear out some of it. Get this Ohio Buckeye more in the light. Some more tulips back there. Rhubarb is getting huge. A bunch of them all over the yard, you can see. We'll end up harvesting some of those soon and make something with them, hopefully. And back here are these nice tulips. And I also have what looks like a fallen down umbrella, but all the trees look safe. That's pretty lucky. I had it positioned just right. No, I was a little worried because it did get really windy, so hopefully that happened fairly recently. Yeah, all these trees look okay. They don't look sunburnt or anything like that. So yeah, all good. Cardinal came for a visit. May 7th. Hey buddy. That's the male. The red one. Nice. First nice big tulips in the backyard are blooming. They're open, looking beautiful. Yeah. What an awesome plant. It just keeps coming back year after year. You don't have to do anything with it. Just really, you don't even need to cut off the dead flowers, deadhead them, but it is good to do that. There's the other ones. That was this, yeah, fairly smaller one. There's a big clump. Forget what color those ones are. These ones are a nice kind of purple. They'll probably open up next week or so. I gotta go out for a little while. I'll do a full kind of update when I get back, but this little Rose of Sharon is doing very well. Most of the buds didn't extend very far before starting to open, but you know, they do kind of form like a little brown knobbly thing that kind of keeps growing for a while, and then all of a sudden a bit of green starts showing up out the side of that. So yeah, pretty cool plant, but very kind of invasive, you know, grows like crazy. Right, so it's May 12th today. I've officially ended my crazy, you know, the intensive part of my repotting season, where I'm repotting something every day. I didn't do any yesterday and I won't do any today. I'm just gonna take the time to finally do a walk around the yard, check out all the new growth since the last yard tour, which was I think just a couple weeks ago, but I don't know, there's been just a ton of growth everywhere since the last one. You know, this is the Rose of Sharon. There's just tons of buds that are going to be opening up soon. It's awesome. The quince over here is looking great. I'm going to need to give it some water. You know, this gets really dry in there. I don't think there's a lot of soil. I should fertilize it too. Yeah. I think those air layers are doing okay. The flowers haven't come out yet, but they're starting to kind of get a nice smell to them. So they'll be opening up real soon. And yeah, I should mention that I'm trying to move quickly because I don't have a ton of battery life. There's a whole bunch of different tulips coming up around the yard. It's really quite beautiful. The grapevine growing and coming out, looking awesome. One of the really cool things over here is the eastern red bud. Flowers are opening. I just can't get enough of this tree, really. It's so interesting, so nice to look at. Even the new leaves look really interesting, quite strange. You know, there's like a thick branch that grows and then a few tiny leaves that come out, but they end up getting really large as the spring and summer go on. So you can see just how many flower buds there are throughout this tree. There's a whole bunch up there. I haven't done any pruning to this tree, but I definitely need to. You can see all the flowers are kind of, you know, clustered around the center on the oldest, thickest part of the branches, so I can prune it all back to there to some good growth, you know, directional pruning, getting rid of crossing and, you know, irrelevant branches, which there are a lot of. Yeah, all these, you know, spindle and Weigela, whatever, Weigela. They're all doing well. White pine 17, doing well. The candles are starting to extend. My big sugar maple here is looking awesome. I should have been taking more videos, you know, of the process. I got a little bit of burning on the tips, it looks like. They're pretty sensitive when they open up, I guess. I should put it in some more shade. Yeah, Norways are all doing well. Nice. Norway maple forest here. My white pine, I believe this is 16. Looking really awesome. I need to do some more dish soap and water spray to get rid of that pine scale, but otherwise looking good. This is a cutting of that Norway maple. Some other cuttings doing okay. My big spruce here, the profile picture, budding out, looking just awesome. So many huge buds on here. A couple of them haven't opened. That one gets a bit more shade, I guess. Even the lower down ones, huge, nice buds. Lots coming out along the lower branches, and I'll pinch back the top quite heavily, push energy down through the bottom, and I'll, you know, do less pinching on these buds down there. But that's looking really great. My raspberry in a pot, looking really well. Big Norway maple. The flowering quince looking great. These are wild grape, I think. They're still in the sand. Maybe I'll just leave them there. Not enough time. Bunch of apricot cuttings. Well, my pawpaws haven't really budded out much. They are developing though, these buds. You can see them kind of starting to extend a little bit. I don't know, we'll see. Something was digging in there. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know about my Japanese maple, not looking great. So the pawpaws, I don't know, I might not repot them. Won't repot this cedar. All of my pines are looking awesome. The big Norway maples here looking great. This mountain ash is looking awesome. This is number 4, the one that was still in the sand. My silver birch down there. The Rose of Sharon's haven't really done anything. This one's kind of budding out a little bit, but nothing's, you know, flushed out. These little Norway maples are doing well, so is this little forest. These leaves look really awesome this time of year. Nice and small on these little ones. Hopefully they'll keep going that way. This here is also, well, actually it's not a Norway. You can see the leaves are a different color, so it is something different. The leaves of this one turned red in the fall last year, so that's why I collected it. This little Norway maple, no, that's not a Norway. This is a red maple, pretty sure. These two are Norways. They haven't come out yet. Cuttings, Norway maple, not doing anything, might be dead. There is a green bud back here, but it's not doing much. My little white spruce, doing awesome. New growth coming out everywhere. The cedars are all doing great. Yeah, so up here, lots more pines over here on this side. That's the white ash that isn't doing so great, but I'm pretty sure it's still alive all the way to the tip. It'll just take a while to really get going. Yeah, you can see some of these little white pines are really extending a lot. So that's really good to see. The little tiny balsam firs down here are doing really well. You know, this tiny little pine is doing really cool actually. Lots of growth on it. That little winter creeper back there might be dead, but no worries about that. This is the other little spruce. Doing well. No, that's actually the balsam fir. So that's really, really good to see that all that strong growth on it. That tree has never been healthy really since I got it, since it's been in my care. The pawpaw down here, no movement, but the buds are starting to get a tiny bit bigger. Cedar's doing well. This is the little balsam poplar that I chopped way back. The little gray alder that's doing very, very well. Mountain ash, and mountain ash, all doing very well. Pine, mystery tree. The tiny little oak is set back because I repotted too early, like a couple of my others, but I think it's still alive. Silver maple. The silver surfer here, looking pretty good. Cowabunga, dude. A little silky dogwood, looking great. Two-needle red pine, looking awesome. It's cool to have a pine that grows, you know, differently than all my others, which are all white pines. My Ohio buckeye here, which has these tiny little leaves down here, and then some bigger ones, and you know, it's extending quite well. This cedar down here is gonna start growing soon, but the cedars that I didn't cut really have, you know, you can see the tips of everything being activated and gonna start growing soon. Yeah, so that's it for the bonsai. Moving on to the big apricot tree here. I've got, I think, 12 air layers on it right now, or maybe I will. I'm gonna put one on the big one over here still. So I'm almost done with that, but you know, the flowers, the petals have all fallen off, but you can see that, so like some of the, maybe they're all gone now, some of the flowers, yeah, just dried up and died. There's nothing at all in there, nothing green, nothing growing. That might have been, you know, the start of something. That's probably just the inside of the flower. But yeah, so over here you can see that the green part on the inside is getting larger. I forget what, you know, the technical name for all of these are. So those little green bits are the apricots forming. So these 3 flowers were pollinated and they're growing, and you can see all the little clusters of flowers have things growing. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Really, really cool actually. We'll get a lot of apricots, and you know, I did a bunch of pruning, and as I was setting up the air layers, you know, pruning the ends off the branches, so I haven't done that with these ones yet, but I will. I'll get to that. I did the same with the pear tree here when I did that weeks ago, and it's looking really great. I think, I don't know if this is normal. That might be something I need to look into. Some sort of disease or something. I don't know, but we did end up getting a few flowers out of this one, so hopefully they'll get pollinated. There's a lot more on the side of the house, so that looks really awesome over there. This is the raspberry that's growing huge everywhere all over the place. The sumac is doing really well. You can see where the healing is happening on this, you know, roughly pruned branch that happened before I got it, and so did this prune here. so that's healing up very well. And at the tips, just really in the last few days, these have extended. Well, really, they just extended since yesterday. They were still just kind of barely leafing out. So that's really cool to see this sumac. It's gonna grow a lot this year. Regalia down here. This is the other apricot tree. I did a little bit of pruning on this branch down here, but otherwise I haven't done anything else, but I need to before it starts growing too much. Big cedar over here, starting to be activated. I need to cut off these big rocket shoots up there and shape this tree a little bit. And actually I do have to try and put an air layer on it. I still haven't looked into air layering cedars, but I think it's possible. The landlords don't want it too high and competing with the apricots, so yeah, I'll try and do that. Over here I've got a persimmon tree, and you can see the buds are really getting huge. That's all just happened very recently. I need to put all the air layers on this tree. All that growth at the top is crazy. Like, it grew probably 3 meters just last year, those long shoots. See, I pruned it back way back there, and you can actually see the tiny little pruning stub on it, and then how much that one branch grew up. So that's pretty wild, the growth on this thing. Hopefully I can air layer it back a whole bunch and get a bunch of them growing in pots. My rose bush down here, the single stem pink roses, have just exploded in growth this past week. We've had really good warm temperature. See, you know, historically warm actually by quite a few degrees. It's been a lot warmer than it normally is this time of year, so I think the plants have just really exploded this week, and they're not used to this, so normally it's a little bit slower. But over here you can see some of the buds on this evergreen spindle have just extended but not opened, and then over here I think where there's a bit more sun, they've really opened up all over the place. So yeah, I've got my indoor and tropical trees. Something's going on with that one. And plants, you know, out here, they're all doing really well. This big Ficus microcarpa is gonna need a lot of work soon. A repotting and root training. The willow leaf ficus I already did. It's doing well, but it hasn't started extending with new growth yet. This Christmas cactus kind of had some setbacks, but it has some new growth as well. There, and then down there, kind of a weeping branch. That'll look kind of cool. Well, clementine forest is doing great. Almost needs a little bit of work soon. Yeah, actually, my lemon tree here has had a bit of a setback. It was very windy last week, and I had everything outside while I was out of the house, and this leaf at the top and this leaf kind of snapped a little bit. They're still alive and I think still feeding the plant, but there's a new bud kind of forming there, so it's almost, you know, pruned itself. So I think it's still going strong. All my microcarpa cuttings, my big crown of thorns doing really well. Lots of good strong new growth on it. It's looking really good. A few little cuttings are still alive. I need to prune this back and repot it very soon, I think, once the weather is consistently warm and hot and humid. Anyways, that's it for now. I think I'll take a little break and maybe I'll do the side of the yard a little bit later. There's a whole lot of nice flowers and flowering trees over there. It looks really awesome. I'll try to get it in the best light. Wasn't able to catch these ones in time on video. Been up for a little while. I thought that was a beach. I'm not sure though. These though are just absolutely amazing. So beautiful right now. These are plum trees. Two of them out here. Over there is another fruit tree of some kind. I think it's also a plum, different variety. Get the flowering quince over here. Beautiful flowers on this bush. They're just everywhere, all over it. Millions of them. Some of them are still coming out. Bunch of nice tulips out on this side of the yard too. And up here, the Douglas pear tree. There's tons of flowers on it. The one in the backyard, of course, the squirrels ate most of the flowers, but over here, it's doing all right. I should have got to the pruning earlier. Yeah, dang, you can see there's a lot of growth. Probably a little bit too late to do this pruning, but I really need to do it. I want to push all that vigor down into the fruiting area and hopefully get these branches to flower next year, because those are different varieties of pear and they can cross-pollinate and I can get, you know, different kinds of pears on the same tree. There's no flowers or fruiting spurs down there yet, so I need to force it by cutting all this back. So I'm just gonna do that off camera real quick. Right, well, I just kind of went to town on this thing. Really shredded it, chopped away all sorts of huge long branches. Some of the you know, more well-developed flowering branches too. That one, because you know, there were some spots where there were two big branches growing out of one. So all of these, you know, I left a lot of the good flowering stuff, and then I'm kind of growing this as like a little leader, and then this big one here, I just left it alone. I didn't trim the ends at all because I really want it to thicken up and get strong down here so it'll fruit next year. You see these tiny little, these will be fruiting spurs, but they're not quite developed enough yet to fruit. Actually, there is, it's like a fruiting spur, or like something that was gonna flower but didn't flower. It's interesting. Anyways, next year maybe it'll flower, but I'm just gonna let it grow strong. Until then, just stopped to admire the old bark on this huge tree. I think it's an ash, a white ash tree probably. It's over 1 meter wide. Huge old tree. Those beautiful deep furrows in the bark there. Just an amazing old tree. All the branching up top. Something about a big, powerful tree like this is just so peaceful, relaxing. You could just look up into that canopy all day. Taking a walk through Gage Park today. It's what is it? May 16th. It rained really heavily earlier today, but now the weather's cleared up and it's looking really, really beautiful. I came over to Gage Park to check out these eastern redbud trees. I should have come over last week when they were still in their max beauty. The flowers are, the blooms are kind of spent now. They're starting to fall off. These ones are pretty good, but the flowers will be coming off soon, making way for the new leaf growth. But these specimens in Gage Park here are so old, amazingly old, beautiful trees, seeds all over the place. I'm gonna collect some and try and grow them, see what happens. But what I really love about this tree also is the old bark on it. You can see on the underside, especially of this old trunk, it's like this red flaky bark that comes off in like scales, really flaky, and then underneath it is almost like a smooth red bark. It's really interesting. Gives a lot of cool, feature identity to the tree. Not sure if these seed pods are still viable. They've been on there since last fall. But I'll try. So yeah, with the oldest trees, the flowers really cluster in the center, the heart of all the old wood. So the older the tree is, the denser the flowers come out. Just see how beautiful these older trees are. I love them. There's another one over there. And they shape these ones pretty good. I think they might just be kind of naturally shaped. You can see some pruning on the tips of these. Somebody pruned it there probably a couple years ago, and this long growth has come off. But generally they kind of get to this size and then they just produce flowers every year. Huge, dense clusters of flowers. And then they just grow a little bit, just enough to power the flower production for the next year, pretty much. Yeah, really beautiful area around here. I should have been taking videos all through here as things are opening up this spring. It's one of my favorite places in the city, for sure. May 19th today. Been a little while since I filmed any videos. Been pretty busy. Haven't repotted anything, so yeah. Anyways, I'm leaving for a camping trip very soon, so I'm just gonna walk around the yard and do a very quick update of everything before I go. I'll be gone for about 5 days. So first of all, the quince tree here is, the first tree to really shoot out tons of long growth, and it's flowering, just looking really nice. Doesn't have much of a smell to it, but it's a lot more flowers coming. All of these branches are very healthy. I do have a few air layers on this tree that seem to be doing okay. This limb is air layered and it's got vegetative growth coming off anyways. This one, no flowers, but that's okay. It's probably better actually. The grapevine over here is growing very strong. Lots of good growth coming out of it almost everywhere. A few spots along the main branches I think I cut back too hard, so they're not budding out there, but then farther down, it's still good. All of it throughout this thing is growing. That's gonna look really cool soon enough. Even the other type of grape, these are a red grape or a purple grape. They're growing up pretty well too. There's this one that wraps around that. I think this one died off, but the other one's alive. Anyways, yeah, lots of good growth on the grapevine. The eastern redbud over here, still looking very, very nice with all these pink, purplish flowers. As I always say, kind of at the junctions of the older growth, that's where most of the flowers come out. So I didn't get a chance to prune this back at all. The leaves are really coming out, and now's not a good time to prune, so I'll wait until everything hardens off after its first major flush of the year, and then I'll prune it back because it really needs it. I want to do some air layers on this as well. I also got some seeds from that nice redbud in Gage Park. I'm gonna try and plant those. I'll just zoom through these really quick. Everything's looking great. Sugar maple, white pine, 17. Some of the pines kind of slowed down a little bit after I repotted, like this one. This is pretty much how it looked a couple weeks ago when I repotted. There's still a little bit of scale on some of them, but probably its roots are just adjusting, and then these candles will shoot up soon. Norway maple forest, the big spruce here, looking just awesome. I think probably right when I get back, I'll do a little bit of pinching of those buds. Got this table out here with all the other trees on it. Give them all some space. I won't go through each of those individually, but you can see on the cedars, the little forest here, and this one especially, the growing tips are turning a nice bright green and really extending, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, other spruce looking great. Lots of maples. This spruce. Over here, got the other ones. The gray alder has just exploded. Tons of new growth, and it's got some sub-branching, so that's really good. The Ohio Buckeye is really taken off in its new pot. These mountain ashes are going wild. This leader here is just shooting off like crazy. Some of the cedars I probably repotted and pruned a little early, so they're not really taken off yet, but they're starting. Balsam fir over here looks awesome. The white ash, my phoenix, might be another casualty again, I'm not sure. I think I repotted it way too early, too impatient on that. Same with some of these over here. They're not really doing anything. That's all right. Some of the pines are really extending their candles and needles, but some of them, are held back a little bit. This cedar doesn't look so great. The big one, this is the double trunk one, but the smaller one looks all right, especially in the center there. There's some nice green. This one looks amazing. That's like This one too, and this one, yeah. I think I kept those in the shade in there actually, so yeah, they look better. This 2-needle red pine, amazing. Silver surfer, that's looking at it from the back side, but still looks cool. The little balsam firs are doing quite well. There's one, there's the other one over there. Lots of pines doing well. You know, it's interesting how different they all look right now. I'll have to go back through the videos and figure out which ones look the best, and then that'll be, you know, the perfect time to repot for next year. All right, well, that's all the bonsai for now. Apricot trees are looking amazing. These apricots have grown like crazy just in the last week. You know, a week ago they were the size of my pinky nail, smaller. Now they're just all over the place growing. Some of the air layered limbs, you know, all the flowers kind of died off and there's no real fruiting happening, but that's good that they do have some vegetative growth, which will keep them growing. And then, you know, I was gonna pick off any fruit anyways, so that's kind of good that it naturally did that. This lower one is kind of died back everywhere except for one branch because there's so much vigorous growth up top. Anyways, I need to make this short now. The pear's looking really awesome. The few flowers that I got, I think got pollinated. Some of them, you know, look like they're forming some fruit already, fattening up. Sumac is looking really cool. That's gonna branch out like crazy this year. There's lots of sub-branching happening, and I haven't pruned anything yet, but I probably will next year. The other apricot also looking awesome. I didn't get a chance to put any air layers on this one yet, so it's just green everywhere, looking really healthy all over the place. This one I'll maximize for fruit production this year, and then maybe do the air layering and major pruning next year, kind of switch off. You know, I got like 12 air layers on this one, so that's gonna be a little bit weaker. I'll, you know, probably take most of the fruit off of it so I can just focus on being healthy. What else? This big cedar, I haven't had a chance to air layer it either. I'm gonna take the top of it off probably, but it's really starting to grow now, looking really nice. The persimmon over here is really starting to green up and extend some leaves. Ants like these for whatever reason. Yeah, so I kind of pruned the bottom part here, but I ran out of time. I'm gonna air layer this one and a bunch of these taller ones up top. So yeah, I'll have to wait till everything hardens off, and then I'll do the pruning and air layering soon enough. The rows down here looking just amazing. Some of this new growth is like 30 centimeters long, at least a foot long. So that should start getting flowers soon enough. And the evergreen spindle over here is looking really cool with all its fresh growth. Those little flower clusters or whatever those are forming. Some of the, look back here, that's like 15-20 centimeters almost. Pretty cool. I did it was a pretty major pruning on this one, so it's good to see it bounce back so vigorously so early in the season. And the Rose of Sharon over here, you can see those little weird knobby things have started extending, and that's gonna look amazing this year. It really sends out a lot of suckers and lower shoots after these prunings, so I'll probably just finish them off earlier this year instead of letting them grow up all the way. And this thing's gonna flower like crazy and look really good. Tulips, red ones, got yellow ones, more red, And then these nice pink ones over here. What an awesome yard this is. Bunch of other plants. The big hydrangea is growing like crazy. The small one in there is growing too. It's kind of getting lost in the jungle. I need to do some, weeding and separating of things. But all these plants are just so beautiful, really. I think these are lily of the valley or something. Really nice white ones. Very cool. More hydrangeas. Yep. Well, I don't have time to do the side of the house. That's enough for this one. I'll catch you after my camping trip. Everything's gonna grow like crazy in the next 4 days. It's gonna look like a whole different place when I get back, I think. All right, cheers. May 23rd today. I got home yesterday from a 4-day-long camping trip. And I knew this was happening, but it's still pretty sad to see all this apricot destruction all over the ground. The squirrels have just done a real number on them. You can see they chew them open. They chew them open. They eat the seeds inside, which are, really watery, really liquidy at this point. Geez, look at them all. This is so sad. They're just everywhere. Now there are still some remaining on the trees, thankfully. Not too many, kind of just the ones they couldn't reach, but I'm gonna try and protect these ones as best as I can. Hopefully they'll ripen. I've put some water down on the base of the tree. I'm gonna put, little pots of water everywhere so that the squirrels will just drink the water instead of eating all my apricots. Anyways, there's a real nice cluster over on this branch over here. They can't reach those ones. This tree, is larger, has longer branches, so the squirrels either can't get out to them or haven't yet. But anyways, these tulips are really cool looking also. They're huge. They're like almost a meter tall. That one in the back there. Very cool. Yep. I'm gonna make a video soon going through all the dead things, because unfortunately there are quite a few of them. But I'll get into that later.